What's happening, friends? Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and on this channel I talk about cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and economics. Today's video is another installment in my series about how to construct a DeFi portfolio. In this series, I've previously gone through how I would go about building a portfolio myself on Phantom Network, on Avalanche, on Binance Smart Chain, and on Terra Luna. In this video, I'll do the same thing on the Solana network. Goals of this portfolio are going to be to keep stablecoins in reserve so that way we can buy any dips that come, to earn consistent passive income, so this is focused on yield farming rather than just price appreciation, but then third, to also make sure we have exposure to Solana and other coins in the Solana ecosystem that we'd be happy to hold to get some nice price appreciation in the future. And before I go any further, I want to emphasize that although I'm going to talk about a lot of different coins and tokens in this video, nothing that I'm saying is implying that you should buy these or that this portfolio is the right portfolio for you. I'm just doing an example portfolio of how I would go about building one, but you should always make sure you do your own research and build your own conviction. Conviction is very important with these sorts of things. Now that that's said, though, let's jump into the video because there's a lot to cover. So first thing first is these are the categories, the allocations that I'll be making in the portfolio today. First one is stablecoins. That's pretty straightforward. I think most people know what a stablecoin is if you're in crypto. So USDT, USDC, UST, things like that. And 30% might seem like a lot. However, I promise you when you have dips like the ones we had over the past week, you'll be very happy to have 30% of your portfolio in stablecoins because then you can buy the dips and you're sitting comfy. Next, we have our high conviction large cap coins. These are coins you believe in, you're willing to hold through a downturn, sometimes even more than 50%. They have proven experienced teams and they're large caps. So for me, I don't have a mid cap category. So for me, a large cap is anything over $1 billion or top 100. You have to really, it's somewhat subjective. You have to sort of make your own decision about where you're going to draw that distinction. Maybe you want to even make a mid cap category. But for me, I basically say, if it's over $1 billion, large cap. If it's below that, then I sort of lump it into the small cap category. Next category is going to be the small cap category. So those ones are also going to be high conviction plays. These have experienced teams. Sometimes they have major backers. They have a long-term roadmap that you believe in, but they're smaller, so they're inherently more risky. Oftentimes these are DEX tokens that are inflationary. So these are ones that just carry a bit more risk with them, but you still have high conviction. Finally, with the smallest allocation in our portfolio is going to be the Moonshots, or what some people would call Degen projects. These are ones that we're in solely because of the high yield. And these are tokens that are usually very, very inflationary, and you get a high yield while you can, and then you move on. And if you don't have time to monitor your portfolio day to day, then you could skip this category entirely, move it to small cap, move it to large cap, and you would still have a great portfolio. But for those of us who want to keep a close tabs on things, then this can be sometimes a fun way to earn some extra yield. And people who have watched my previous videos will notice that these categories, the percentages did change a bit. That's because on Solana, historically, over the past year, Solana has outperformed almost all the ecosystem coins. So I moved some of the allocation that would normally be for small cap and degen projects and moved it to large cap to reflect that reality. So we're still going to get exposure to some ecosystem tokens, but I want to make sure that we have the bulk of our exposure in Solana itself or in other large cap coins that are less likely to be heavily diluted. The problem with a lot of Solana coins is that something like 80 or 90% of the supply is not in circulation, so that can sometimes cause them to underperform Solana itself. And that's our portfolio allocations. So let's now look at the protocols that we're going to be using today. First we have is Radium. Radium is the largest DEX on Solana, and it has some decent rates on here. Next we have Orca. Orca is sort of the upstart DEX, great UI, and also they have some tokens that aren't on Radium. So we'll be, or at least the farms aren't on Radium, so we'll be able to get some interesting pools here. Then we're going to use Saber. Saber is sort of like Curve, but on Solana. So you can see you swap between different stable coins or swap between other like assets. So you might swap between different versions of Solana or different versions of BTC or something like that. Next, we're going to use some aggregators. So first one is going to be Sunny Aggregator. Sunny Aggregator Basically, it's an aggregator on top of Saber, but the rates on here are much better. So actually, anytime that we would use Saber, we're going to use Sunny instead. And you can see right here, just these top two, those are really, really nice rates, 33% on stablecoins. So we're going to use Sunny for sure. Another aggregator is Tulip, formerly known as Sol Farm. Website tulip.garden. This is a yield aggregator that has Radium, Saber, and Orca. We're going to use this to find most of our pools on Radium and Orca because they are all in one place and they have a nice feature to sort by APY, and they have a nice filter here as well. So this will be quite useful. Next, we have Solend. This is a borrowing and lending platform. We can use this to get single-sided exposure. So we'll look at this to compare. Sometimes you can see the rates aren't phenomenal on everything. So 2% on Solana, but they have some good pools like 18% on UST. And that's pretty good for stablecoins. Finally, we will look at Marinade Finance. Marinade is a liquid staking protocol. So it allows you to stake your Solana while maintaining a liquid MSOL token that you can use for various DeFi related things, and 6% on staking. So that's decent as well. Great. So those are the protocols that we'll use. Let's start building our portfolio. First thing we'll need to do is find a stablecoin pool. As I mentioned a second ago, we're going to use Sunny Aggregator for this. And Sunny Aggregator does not seem to be cooperating. It's actually the second time I'm recording this video because Sunny didn't cooperate before too. I think it's because they have that weird graphic going on in the background. There it is. Okay. So there's some pretty good pools here. You can see that a lot of the USDT, USDC, different stablecoin pools, a lot of them are 20 to 40%. And even though I can't see it right now, I happen to know that that's true because I looked at it before this video. And we could go through all of them and look, but I took the liberty of looking through all of them before the video, and the best one actually turns out to be USDT, USDC, surprisingly, because usually the best one is going to be smaller stable coins where you have a chance to be a higher proportion of the liquidity pool, but it turns out USDT, USDC is 33%, which is an incredible rate for stable coins. So we are just gonna stick with that, and I'm quite happy with that. I think that's sort of above and beyond what we would expect for our stablecoin portion of the pool. So that takes care of 30% of stablecoins. Next up, we have our high conviction large cap coins. And the first thing about this is that, we are in Solana. So if you're on Solana, I'm assuming that you want some exposure to the SOL token. So I'm going to try to get some single-sided exposure to Solana, or rather impermanent loss-free exposure. So it could be either single-sided or it could be two forms of Solana paired in a liquidity pool like MSOL and SOL or something else like that. And that's going to be half of it. And then the other half I'll put in a different large cap. Actually, no, 30% is going to be in Solana, because if we're in Solana ecosystem, we should have a decent Solana position. So 30% is going to be in Solana. So let's look at some places that we might be able to earn single-sided yield on Solana. We'll come back to Sunny in a second. First place is going to be Solend. So you could lend out your SOL and you would receive 2% APY. Not great, but that is some yield. If you happen to have a lot of Solana, then that is a pretty decent APY. Well, it's not really decent, but it is APY. I personally, you need to have at least like 10% to catch my interest. Next, we have staking. So you could stake your Solana, liquid staking, and you'd earn 6% a year. Again, like I said, needs to have 10% to catch my interest. But if you really want to be risk off and you don't want to have to, really worry about it at all, or you don't have to manage it at all, then this could be an option. Could be an option for you. What I like is to use some of these pools on Saber, also on Sunny. And in these ones, you can earn some very nice rates on. And they're not so nice here, but on Sunny, they actually are really nice. And I'm just going to refresh this page one more. I do apologize. There we go. Finally. So we can see these pools here, and 23% MSOL SOL. And it's actually higher than 23%, because keep in mind, MSOL is representing staked Solana. It's liquid staking. So So 23%, and then half of that is earning 6%. It's probably going to be more like 25%, something like that. And this is not choosing to cooperate today. And like I said, I already had to restart the video. But if you go through, there are a number of different pools like that on Sunny that have different types of Solana staked. You have pSol, you have xSol, lots of different liquid staking platforms or platforms where you can borrow a synthetic version of Solana and so on. And it's pretty cool because there's enough of them that you can actually earn really, really nice yields. And the best one that I could find was PRT-Sol paired with pSol, which was around 25%. And then one of those is also a liquid staking thing, so it's actually more like 27%, which is very nice on single-sided Solana. If you want it to be a bit safer, Marinade is larger than Parrot, so you could do mSol and you lose only a couple of percentage points. But I'm going to put 30% of the portfolio in that now. So now we have 30% in stablecoins in that USDT, USDC pool earning 30% APR. Then we have another 30% in, let's say, either mSol or PRT-Sol, pSol, both on Sunny. And that one's going to be earning around the range of 25%, which these rates aren't insane so far, but we're just on Solana and stablecoins and you're already earning some nice yield. Now we have another 20% in our large caps that we're going to have to find something to allocate to. So if I go back and I look at some of our other platforms, if we could go to Radium, that could be decent. We could go to Orca. Let's see. And so the problem with this, the main problem with this is that there actually aren't many large caps in the Solana ecosystem for whatever reason. So there's some pools that have Ethereum. Many of them, the rates actually aren't very good. If you search, a lot of the rates are probably going to be like 10%, 5%. So ETH-Sol, for example, 70%. You could do that if you wanted to, but it's not really the sort of passive income we're looking for. And I suspect Orca is going to be pretty similar. Yeah, 18%. That's just that's fine, but we're looking for something a little bit more for this pool since we already had our modest yields in the other ones. So one that I happen to find looking around here is there's actually a Luna UST pool on Solana, and that's 57%. There's also an AVAX pool with a slightly lower rate. I think either of those could be fine, but the Luna rate is about 20 percentage points higher. So I'm going to go with the Luna UST pool for 57%. Luna is a great coin, both a layer 1 and a stable coin, and it's done very well over the past year. So I'd be very happy holding this at 57%, and luckily this also bumps our APR up a little. Generally, as we get into smaller coins, we want the APR to be higher, although Luna is actually not much smaller than Solana at this point. So now as a recap, we have 30% in that USDT, USDC pool, 30% in the like asset Solana pool on Sunny, 20% in Luna UST on Orca, and then that leaves our small cap project and our Degen project. So two more pools to find. And for these pools, we are going to use Tulip because I happen to know that and also just in general, Tulip is a great place to find different pools. So for our small cap, I would say this is usually where I would go for an ecosystem token. So this is where we want to get exposure to some of the smaller DeFi. It could even be a metaverse project, but for me, it's usually DeFi because that's what I do. Smaller DeFi project in the ecosystem. And by smaller, I mean smaller compared to Solana, because I think actually the best pool here, if you look at these, there's Ray USDC, so Radium being the largest DEX. Ray USDT is 83%, that's decent. Ray Sol is 60%, but I think the best pool here, at least from my personal interest, is Ray Serum. Serum is a decentralized order book being built by FTX, and they chose to build it on Solana. And then Radium, of course, is the largest DEX, and it's also a launchpad, and you can get 95%. So you're holding the two largest DeFi projects in the Solana ecosystem, and you are earning a nice, clean 95% APR, which is very nice. Or is that APY? That is APY. So you're earning a nice, clean 95% APY. And I was very tempted to go with Orca on this one, because I really, really like the interface of Orca, and I think Orca's been gaining on Radium and TVL. But for me, the rates on Orca are enough lower that it doesn't justify going for this right now, at least, over Radium Serum if our goal is passive income while holding these things. And also the thing is, Orca is small enough that you might consider it the Moonshot category. Even though it's not really a Degen project, it's a very high quality project, but the market cap is fairly small. But for this 15%, I'm just going to go with Radium Serum, and I'm pretty happy with that 95% APY. So then going back to our PowerPoint, that just leaves one category, and that is the Moonshot Degen category. Sometimes for this could be going to a new DeFi project on Solana, and again, sometimes you might not want to have this at all. Sometimes if you don't want to be monitoring your portfolio all the time, you might not want this. But right now, the way that I'm going to find this is actually, I'm just going to look for the highest APY farms on Tulip. So these are going to be farms on Radium or Orca. So there's very little smart contract risk, but they have a high APY. And you can see a few jump out. There's SLC USDC with a 5,900% APY. Nice clean 1% per day. There's Run USDC with about 1,600% and SVT USDC with another 1,600%. I wasn't too familiar with these coins before, but SLC is a VR metaverse type project, so virtual reality, and SVT is a platform that has to do with NFT liquidity. And because that we're looking for a real Moonshot Degen project here, I'm going to go with the SLC USDC pool with it. Like I said, a nice clean 1% per day. Who doesn't want that in their portfolio? And that's going to round out our portfolio now. So to recap, I'm not going to go through every pool again, but we have nice stablecoin position. We have exposure to Solana and Luna, two of the top layer ones. We have some nice exposure to Solana DeFi, and then we have a Degen project that's earning us 1% APR per day, and who knows, maybe it will go crazy. And the cool thing about this, besides the fact that you are holding these high quality cryptocurrencies, is that imagine you put 1,000 into this without doing, without going through all the math, just doing on the top of my head, it's probably earning you a couple dollars a day. So, and that might not seem like a lot, but after 30 days, that could be $50, $60 that you can then reinvest into another cryptocurrency that you think has a chance to go up. And if you do that for enough months, then perhaps you are able to invest in one that accurately goes up, and then your portfolio is larger, and you can put that back into passive income generating assets, and the cycle repeats. And then over time, your portfolio can grow while you are sitting comfortable in these yield farming plays. And that's all I got for today. That is how I would build a portfolio on the Solana ecosystem. I have a lot more of these videos planned in the near future. Specifically, I'm working on one for Harmony now. But if you have any other ecosystems you want me to make one of these videos for, be sure to drop a request down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and you can even follow me on Twitter if you want my latest updates. That's all I got. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.